Hi, and welcome to another episode of Fitness and Friends. I am your humble host, Dr. Bob Ruano. If you've lived in the North Central Florida area any amount of time, you've probably heard the name Go Primal Fitness. And depending on where you were when you first were made aware of that training facility, it either elicited feelings of pride and camaraderie or provoked a sense of intimidation and exclusivity. Regardless of your take, all would agree that the programming, the workouts, and the community are all intense. Early on, the leader of this cult-like following was brazen, well-studied trainer who learned his craft from the likes of Dr. Stuart McGill, who happens to be the authority on low back rehabilitation, and another brazen and bald fitness guru to the stars, Paul Chek. Over the course of more than a decade, Go Primal has undergone many changes, from 4 different locations, multiple business partners, a myriad of staff, but the biggest transformation has been that of its founder, my guest today, Chris White. Here to share his journey from an extreme dogmatic dictatorship to a much kinder, gentler, benevolent leadership role, my friend, Chris White. What do you think about that?
That was good.
Welcome, Innovative Back Solution Studios.
That was awesome. Thank you.
So, fairly accurate?
I'd say very accurate. Now I just have to kind of back it up and fill in the holes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And that's what this is about.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we go way back.
We do.
Go Primal established 2008. So, like I said, almost 15 years ago. And like I said in the intro, a lot of changes have taken place. Mm-hmm. Each one of them, whether they're successes or failures, created change, which has now kind of grown this to, how big is that facility?
Current location is about 11,000 square feet.
11,000 square feet, almost 400 members. So
yeah, 400 members
so
will hit.
Yeah, you've made some right choices and corrections along the way.
No doubt.
So, at 2008, not a lot of people didn't understand, including me. Like, how could somebody charge $200 a month for a gym? I can go to Gainesville Health and Fitness for $30 a month and have access to all this equipment. And it looked like you guys had. Again, this is before CrossFit was on the map for most of us. There was no equipment. There were these iron-looking bells and some barbells. And I remember seeing pictures of you or Vince standing on those kinesio balls doing shoulder presses, like these crazy-looking moves. So, tell us a little bit about like how you guys got together on that.
Well, I think you got to go back even further and remember that I started at Gainesville Health in 1998. Mm-hmm. That was my first job in the fitness industry, and that's been the only industry I've ever been in since. So 20 plus years in the industry, and I started at Gainesville Health if you've ever been there, as a lowly floor instructor. Yeah. I mean, I was making $6 an hour,
checking the boxes, setting the weights.
Boxes. I was setting the machines. I worked on the line, and I did that for 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. Became a supervisor, which is where, basically one step above that. And that was my first introduction to being a leader, having people underneath me that I had to coach and lead. Did that for a couple of years, and then eventually worked my way to personal training, where that opened a whole Pandora's box for me, where I spent, 4 or 5 more years doing that. And worked my way up to the point where I was just teaching all the trainers. I mean, I remember I had like 1 or 2 clients in the beginning. Next thing I know, I had 20 clients. Next thing I know, I was teaching all the trainers. And a phenomenal time there. I mean, Gainesville Health is my foundation. Sure. And a lot of people don't really know, but Joe is like one of my greatest mentors, when it came to just understanding business in general, understanding the value of customer service, even just understanding how to learn people's names. When you go through that line, you see hundreds of people every single day. And just like if you go to Starbucks or something like that, if you go there regularly enough, they'll learn your name. Sure. So I learned how to learn names.
Create a connection.
Became a personal trainer, but then got to the point where I was like, you know what? It was a glass ceiling. There wasn't much room for growth at that point. And I decided, let's see what I can do on my own. Mm-hmm. So, and at this time, I was studying guys like you mentioned, Paul Chek. I was studying Stuart McGill. I was studying guys like Gary Gray, which most people probably haven't heard of. Studying Charles Poliquin, learning how to do hypertrophy training.
I didn't even mention Poliquin in the
functional training, strength development. So a lot of my background is not even really centered around CrossFit. And like you mentioned before, it wasn't even a thing back then. I mean, I think it started in 2008, but really didn't gain real traction until 2012, 2013. So I feel very fortunate in the sense that I got my beginning that way versus the other way, which I think a lot of people get their introduction to exercise these days, and that is through CrossFit.
Right.
So the model that we created with Primal was not CrossFit for 2008 through 2012. It was 4 years of what you could label functional fitness, where we swung kettlebells, we did deadlift. I mean, we did things that looked, smelled, and felt a lot like CrossFit, but was never labeled that. But even before that location, you didn't mention the 6th Street Dungeon, which was...
Well, that's where I first heard of you guys.
Yeah, and it was called that. Well, let me even back up further. I mean, I started working with people that had back pain, and I did a lot of corrective exercise. I got my license as a massage therapist. So, again, my beginnings was very much in the orthopedic realm.
Right.
So, again, not in the CrossFit methodology at all, which I think is a huge advantage. I'll get to that in a second. But so the 6th Street Dungeon was this move from a small closet-like location doing corrective exercise into what would become the first iteration of Go Primal. And we weren't charging $200 an hour. In fact, this was in 2008, so the economic crisis hit, and I'm starting this massive space, which isn't very nice at the time either. There's no air conditioning. The plants were growing this funky mold on them. Like the air was not good. It was dark. It was damp. And we had maybe literally 25 clients.
Yeah.
We're on the brink of probably failing at this point, and I had a good family friend named Mike Riles. If you've been in Gainesville at all and you know real estate, threw me a line. He's like, "Listen, I got a space on the northwest side in Magnolia Park." He's like, "I'll build it out for you. I'll give you a hell of a deal." And with no real choice, either fold or take the chance to do this, I said, "All right, let's do it." So we moved up there with our 25 clients, which at that point became about 15 clients, because that was a big move in terms of location. And slowly but surely, we were there for 4 years, and we went from 25 to 185. And I was still sort of this, you use the word dictator, but I was still very edgy and hardcore in my approach. I wasn't at a point in my career and evolution where I had a lot of empathy. And I think the biggest thing that gave me empathy as a coach is having children. And just living more life in general. The more life you live, the more you understand that life's fucking hard.
So you made these. It's funny because you changed some of the characters and some of the locations. You've had to do that a couple of times. Make that move.
You talking about the staff or just the location?
No. Well, the location, and kind of almost forced to pivot. There you go, Farah. That one was for you. Pivot, my first use. Almost forced to pivot, like you said, down in the dungeon to probably a very high rent district move at the Magnolia Park.
Much higher, and then growing out of that, I went back and forth about whether to move again.
I remember a conversation we had this in 2015 at the games. I think we were sitting in the athletes, athlete meeting, and you were on the fence. You're like, I don't know, do I grow this thing or do I actually condense it, charge a higher fee, and just be a little more one-on-one? And it could have gone either way. Then I think shortly thereafter, or maybe right around that time, is when you took on a partner.
Yes.
Yeah. And said, okay, we're going all in.
Yeah. That's always been the argument I've been having with myself. Up until now, really. I mean, grow, stay small and more exclusive. Grow, stay small and more exclusive. But ultimately, especially if we're talking about right now, it's gone from a mindset of when you work with people that have pain all the time and your approach is very holistic, and people come in and they aren't willing to do what it takes to get better on all fronts.
Right.
I got very frustrated with this notion of people not wanting to put the work in all the different areas they needed to put work in to get better. completely better.
Yeah.
So I went from this guy who was doing very intricate work to this guy who was saying now, okay, screw it. I'm only going to work with people who are all in.
Yeah.
And I took that to the extreme in saying that if you can't give me absolutely everything you have to be here, then you don't belong here.
And that's probably where like some of the lure of...
and deservedly so. I mean, we had an assessment workout that you had to do in that 6th Street location where if you didn't show me that you were willing to almost die,
leave it on there,
then I was going to tell you that this really wasn't the place for you. And we called it the Air to Hell workout. And if you did it individually, it was 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 calories on the assault bike, which at that time was the most popular sort of air wind bike. With a, what do you say?
Comments there.
Oh.
From Dave. Dr. Dave. What's that, buddy? Hope the shoulder's doing better.
10 calories, the rest the same amount of time it took you. 20 calories, rest the same amount. And you had to do this all the way to 50 calories, and I gave you 20 minutes to complete the workout. Usually after about 30 calories, people are on the floor dying. Or they're in the bathroom throwing up. And if you came in with somebody else, I'd make the other person hold a slosh pipe over their head while you were doing your calories. So as you might imagine, if you've ever been on this bike or held a slosh pipe over your head, like this is sort of an impossible game to win. And it wasn't about even completing it. It was about seeing what this person was made of. Did you puke and rally, basically?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I learned really quickly that was not a really sustainable business model, okay? And that
the referrals aren't going to be rolling in.
And they weren't. And that was part of the reason why I took the jump to Magnolia Park was because, I had this crosswords. Was like, am I going to continue to do what I'm doing right now and the way I'm doing it, or am I going to try to sort of become a little bit more all-inclusive? And that was the first iteration of a more all-inclusive facility, Magnolia Park. Second, iteration was the one behind Gator Dockside. And now third is the one that we have now. And you mentioned a business partner. I took it on a business partner because I thought that was the right way to grow.
Right.
Take on somebody who has a lot of business savvy. And at the time, that was actually, I had 2 business partners.
Sure.
And I thought, again, that was the right thing to do. When looking back on that, like at the moment that I decided to take it all on myself, to buy my business partners out, and to make this thing my own was the moment that I really feel like the business itself accelerated.
Well, it's hard because you had two additional owners, but you were the owner-operator.
Absolutely.
You were there on a daily basis. You were putting out fires. You were writing checks. You were coaching. You were programming. I mean, you were doing it all. So I honestly, I know, Fair and I, we were really, really proud. I mean, it sounds weird, but really proud when you kind of took it yourself. We're like, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think I did have business partners because there was probably some unconscious side of me that was just felt more comfortable.
Well, maybe some insecurity, like I can't do it all. I don't want to be like totally exposed.
Exactly, but
it's all on me.
But the freedom that not having them has created for me, and the confidence that's created for me has been unmatched.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of part of this journey, this story that I really wanted to get into is like you're a different guy. You have a different perspective now than 10 years ago, than 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You've had a lot going on.
To say the least. I think what's shifted is a real emphasis on the guests, the consumer, the people that are coming in to our gym, and going from this mentality of
here's what I'm going to sell you to what can I do for you? Right.
And trying to be something that's great for the community, So I really became like a community person, like not trying to have. I remember in the past, like I really wanted to have the best gym in town. I wanted it to have everything, and I wanted people to not want to go to the other gyms. And looking back, like what a terrible mentality. Like now it's like I actually want everybody in this community to be successful, because all we're doing is we're perpetuating this idea of movement and just experiencing your human body in a physical way. Like you can't have enough of that. And there's plenty of business to go around. So now I just want to be a business that is for our community along with all the others. So that's been a huge shift for me too.
Yeah, and probably what you're experiencing now is, and it's such a like an old cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true. Like the more you give, the more you're going to get. Yeah. It's just it's universe, and I see it time and time again. You can tell a younger man that, you can tell a younger version of myself that, and it just sounds like Go.
Well, hospitality is something that we really focus on now. And I've gone from a staff of, I don't know, let's see, in Magnolia Park, four people, to now 14. So, the gym is a lot bigger. So it's a team now. The hierarchy is like, we put our team first. We talked about this yesterday. The team has to be first.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The people that are perpetuating the philosophy of the gym, which is, to make this community the fittest community in America and to win customers for life, these people need to understand that they need to have mutual respect for each other. They need to understand that we have each other's backs. They need to be passionate about their work. And all I look for now is just good people to work for us. It doesn't matter about technical skill. Doesn't really matter to me anymore. Like,
it's the emotional intelligence.
It's the emotional intelligence. Do you have an innate desire to actually make somebody feel good?
Yeah.
Because when you can make somebody feel good and create that connection through dialogue, it's limitless the amount of business that you're going to get.
Some groups right there.
That's in our current location. Was that this past
Memorial Day?
Is that Murph? Yeah,
Looks
I
like
know. I don't think that was Murph. That was actually before COVID, right there. I think.
Okay.
But nonetheless, we've grown since. To go through all that, and to have more now than we've ever had, feels amazing.
Yeah. And in part of that, you mentioned that this sort of this new take, or just looking at business from this new perspective, really was kind of kickstarted with having kids.
Yeah, as you know.
Yes.
Kids teach the ultimate level of selflessness.
For sure.
And they teach love, and they teach interaction. I became a much more loving person when I had kids, because I don't even really think that I knew how to love at any specific level before kids. You know what I mean? Like that. Right. I knew how to love. I was married. I had great friends. I had my parents. But to really just understand how to open your heart to people, kids taught me how to do that.
Yeah.
And then just having enough empathy with other people, like, okay, maybe they can't meal prep, because they got 10 other things going on. They're driving kids here, there. Okay, I get that. Well, what can we do to create a little bit of success?
Yeah.
Can we get you to drink a little bit more water during the day? And we'll start with that. Versus if you're not going to do everything I tell you to do, then fuck off. This is not the place for you.
Yeah.
That's the difference. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the difference.
And it takes time to kind of shirk that, but you don't. And this is exactly what you're doing. You're not doing it by just telling me, hey, I'm a different person. You just walk the walk.
You walk the walk.
And people are starting to see it then.
Well, you have to lead by example. That's one of our core values, is leading by example. And when you have go-getters on board who lead by example, you're going to attract a lot of people. Right. Yeah. We don't market. Right. And that's the beauty. And people ask, how do you not market? I said, well, you sort of do market.
We have 400.
We have 400 walking
representatives.
billboards. 400 walking billboards in this community, and that's a lot. Yeah. You can't pay for that.
No.
So if you put your eggs in that basket, it'll return.
Yeah. I started working with this. I think, and I've mentioned this before in the program. If you want to learn a skill or do something better, the fastest way to do that is not necessarily reps. It's getting a coach, somebody who can guide you. And I did that with my practice. And he's always harping, and I think this applies to all businesses, and maybe even interpersonal relationships too. It's about integrity. Do you do what you say you're going to do? And then next is quality. What you're doing, is it quality work? Are you spending quality time? Are you providing a quality experience? And then value. And the value comes with, does the consumer, does the client, does the patient feel they're getting more than what they've paid for? And if you can hit all those, that's...
Value is a biggie, and I'll even add to that. I think the biggest asset that we all have that you can't buy with money is time.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Respecting people's time and the value that you're mentioning there. It's like, it's an hour out of your day, but it's actually a lot more than that, because you got to get to the gym. You got to probably prepare a lot of things to do that. You got to train for an hour, maybe you're going to shower afterwards, and you got to get to wherever you're going. So there's, say, 3 hours out of your day. Like, if you're not providing a lot of value to get somebody to spend 3 hours out of their day, like, they're probably not going to stick around.
Right.
So just understanding how valuable time is to people is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's you're right. No amount of money in the world is going to buy you more time.
Absolutely not. So people are very choosy about how they spend it.
Yeah.
And if you want them to spend it with you, well, you better damn well be providing some value. Yeah.
Well, how's the family now? For those that don't know, your family expanded here.
So we took on my wife's sister passed away last year, and we ended up adopting her nephew, who is now 14. He just had a birthday. So we have together, Misty and I, we have a 5-year-old, an 8-year-old, and then now we took on a 14-year-old. And talk about being thrust into teenagerhood. The guy became a man-child overnight.
Yes.
And now my 8-year-old is like emulating him. So like he went from like, not wanting to, or not taking baths now to wanting to take showers for there's no nakedness happening in the house anymore.
Really?
And he just wants to stay up late now and just hang,
Do whatever Gino's doing.
Yeah, he wants his own room. He's currently sleeping with his brother. So all these changes are happening. And what I'm learning is that like now I'm in this game now where it's like, okay, I'm in this what I call the trifecta of insanity, and that is I'm a husband, I'm a father, and I'm a business owner. Like for anybody that doesn't know what that means, I can tell you right now, it's the highest amount of pressure and work that anybody could ever experience. And learning how to put energy in each of these baskets in an effective way is really important.
Yeah. Now, your Thursdays, and that is why I'm very grateful that you're spending some time with us, because Thursday is Dad Day.
Thursday is typically Dad Day, but the kids are in camp, which is what allows me to be here.
Okay,
so
nice.
If I told, but
mine is Tuesday, but okay. Yeah.
So I take a whole day off during the week and I spend it with my kids. Misty goes off to work, and it's just great for me because it gives me that real good quality time. I mean, you spend a third of your life working, and you spend a third of your life sleeping. So you have another third of your life that you can spend towards family, and then you have to take care of yourself too, right?
Yeah.
But this comes back down to my team. Like I don't have to go to work, which I've never been able to say that ever before. Like I have such an amazing team, and I go to work because I want to.
Right.
So it allows me. I mean, I get home every day at 2:00. Some
That's
days
nice.
I go in and I'll do everything I need to do until then, and I leave at 2:00, and I'm home every day at 2:00. And some mornings I'm home for the kids when they are doing their morning stuff, and I take them to school. So I've gotten a lot better. Yeah. And it's paid off.
So our paths go back, like I said, in 2008, when you were downtown, I remember, you talking about that the intense workouts or the exclusivity. I started training so I could come train with you. And I think we because we met right around that time. And I really thought, this is before I knew anything about CrossFit. I was like, that's what I need to do. I thought I was in pretty good shape. I had a dad bod, right? But I thought I was looking pretty fine. And I was like, this is going to take me to the next level.
You were still above average, let's be honest.
And
you had one ab instead of 8.
Yeah, there you go. And it was right when you guys made that move. Like, I was ready to go downtown, but you guys made the move. I'm like, oh, this is like in my backyard. And that's really sort of the birth of my CrossFit career. I think that picture that Elio posted up there was that was 2015. That one's 2017. Yeah, 2017. So I mean, you were really instrumental in jump starting this CrossFit career of mine.
Well, you did it, man. I mean, I've never really been a fan of CrossFit.
Yeah.
It's just sort of a part of our business, but it's not.
Right.
It's such a niche.
Well, I mean, you guys are. Functional fitness. We won't call it CrossFit. Functional fitness. It's strongman. It's strength. It's conditioning. It's all of it.
It's one of the things that makes our business unique.
Yeah, sure.
Of the 400 members that we have, 300 don't do CrossFit.
Right.
300 are participating in some strength work. They're doing what we call general fitness. They're doing the accessory classes like strongman and all the other things. And then 100. Who we've sort of identified as, these are the people that are the fire breathers, so to speak, who have competitive aspirations and who are able to train multiple hours a day. And without that model, I really don't think we're as successful as we are. Right. And I attribute that model a lot to my background and the idea that, again, I didn't come into this industry being exposed to CrossFit right off the bat.
Right.
So it's a huge advantage. Now, it's costly, because I have to have, 3 different coaches working at the same time. But I've been able to build it up organically to the point now where it's just part of our business.
Well, I tell the guys I compete with, my friends now, that I got into CrossFit training, not CrossFit.
Yeah. Exactly.
Made the games, and I think it was in 2015. You're like, I guess we got to become a CrossFit gym.
Yeah. Well, that was Amanda. That was her real. She was the catalyst for that.
Yeah. That was another one of the alumni that we had on the show.
Oh yeah, you had her on too. Yeah. So I owe her for that. She really got that started, and now we have Tommy, who's really run with it.
Oh yeah.
Who's he's 23-year-old, super eager.
Yeah.
He's got no kids. His girlfriend's about to go to Tampa for school. He's gonna have. He does all his social. He's gonna be the guy who takes it to the next level.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to just give that to him.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. So, yeah, again, it comes back to the team.
Yeah.
It comes back to what you said too. So do what you're good at.
Yeah.
And because I can allow all that to happen, now I can focus on things little projects I want to do. I can do some more nutrition and lifestyle stuff, which I'm super passionate about. I can do treatment sessions because I'm a massage therapist. I can work with people that have injuries. And I can work with my team even more.
Right.
I meet with them an hour every week. I meet with them individually to work on different projects. And for me, that's the evolution now is I can start giving back to my business instead of working for my business.
Yeah.
Instead of working for my business, I'm working on my business.
Right.
And that's a huge distinction.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think any business that's going to be sustainable beyond, even beyond yourself, that has to be in place.
Absolutely.
If you were to step back for a bit, that still runs. That's still operational.
It does.
Yeah, you made it.
Well, I'm still very motivated to do something more.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is. I want to hit 500 members. I want to potentially have another location. I want to spread the gospel of Primal and this idea that movement is medicine.
Yeah.
And we, if you've ever walked into Walmart at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or you ever been to Disney World, you can see there's a market for fitness. there's people that need what we have. We live in this bubble, every day I look at abs and asses and traps and pecs, and it's like, this is not reality. It's our bubble. There's a massive market for what we do,
Well, hey, I wanted to, I don't save a lot of texts. I save several from my wife. She sends me that, have meaning. But I got a text from you. I think this was maybe before the 2015, my first go round. And I'm going to read this.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Here we go. Hey, bud, just wanted to tell you I'm super proud of you. You're a badass, and I appreciate you letting me tag along for this ride and experience and this madness with you. Much love. And when you're tired, beaten down, fighting to finish a WOD, just remember you're one of the fittest motherfuckers in the world and deserve to be there just as much as the other guys. You're already a winner, but it's okay if you want more. See ya. Dude, I
love that, dude. Thanks for the trip down memory lane. Yeah.
Hey, I've got 2 more questions for you. First one, if have you experienced a failure or a loss or something, an obstacle you've come across, and it just seemed like it's going to be tough to pick yourself up from this one? Yet, in hindsight, you look at it and say that was a real critical point in my life, and it set me off into a positive direction. I wouldn't be here today without that.
I'm going to give you a different answer than the one I wrote because I started thinking about it.
Yeah.
When I was a freshman in high school, I tried out for the football team, and I was cut. I had 1 year of experience up to that point playing football, never had played any organized football. Put myself out there, went out for the team, got cut. And that crushed me as a human being. But what came of that was a whole year of strength and conditioning that I had never exposed myself to in the past. And that lit the path for me to want to learn more about performance and training and diet and all that. And had I not been cut from that team, maybe I never come down this path.
Right.
So I would say that's probably the most
pretty cool.
Poignant failure of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I turned it into something positive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now you're changing, literally thousands of people's lives.
It's humbling.
Yeah. Final question.
Yes.
If you could pick one exercise to do for the rest of your life and only one exercise, what would that be?
My staff's going to laugh because I always joke about this movement being in the games. It's yet to be there, though, and that is the Turkish get-up.
Turkish get-up.
Yeah, if you ever saw our initial T-shirt,
Oh, yeah.
it was the Turkish get-up, and that was a picture of me doing a Turkish get-up, and it said "Real fitness is earned." I've always thought that the Turkish get-up is the most total body exercise you could possibly do. If you break it down and look at it, you've got a load overhead in one arm.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you're overhead.
You're standing, weight overhead.
You're standing overhead, and anytime you put weight over your head, you're either going to be exposed or you're going to be in a position of stability, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got one arm overhead. You're unilateral too, so you don't even bilateral. And then your task is to go down to the floor, lay down on your back, get back up again, all the while keeping this weight over your head. So your shoulders moving in all these different positions. You've got to be able to go down to the floor without looking. Mm-hmm. You've got to find the ground. Now you're stabilizing on this shoulder, and all this is happening through here and here. So I just think the Turkish get-up, if I had one kettlebell that was 50 pounds or so, I could get, and just we're able to do Turkish get-ups, I would be a hell of an athlete.
I'll tell you, you've made me rethink my answer on this question. I think I'm getting interviewed here in a week or two, and I might have to reconsider.
Yeah, so I convinced you.
You might have, yes.
A lot of people would say snatch, clean and jerk, muscle up.
Snatch or deadlift or squat, but
nothing gets you like the Turkish get-up.
I like it.
And if you had it in the games, think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, give who's the guy now? Who's the front runner for the men? Do we know?
You're talking to me? I have no idea. I mean, unless he's 50 to 54, I have no idea.
I mean, wouldn't you like to see these guys put a 100-pound kettlebell over their head, go to the floor, and back up again for multiple reps?
Oh, absolutely.
That would be entertaining as shit, wouldn't it? Yeah.
You never know.
And I bet a lot of guys who are super strong would get exposed.
You never know.
Yeah.
It may pop up.
We'll see.
Castro's not afraid.
Maybe he'll get this interview.
That's right.
Tip.
I'll tag him.
All right.
Chris, thank you very much, my friend.
Pleasure, man. Thank you. Enjoyed that.
And I hope you enjoyed that conversation. As we see, at any point, and it doesn't have to take a major obstacle for you to have a change of heart. And I think that's what it is being just open and honest with yourself, with your friends, with your family, letting ego go. I think the ego really can limit us in how we can reach out and touch others. So I hope you enjoyed that, and get out there. Train. We'll catch you next week. Thanks for joining us.